In the heart of Africa, a figure of immense power and terrifying brutality emerged, a man whose name would become synonymous with tyranny. This is the story of Idi Amin Dada, the self-proclaimed conqueror of the British Empire and president for life of Uganda, a man who rose from humble beginnings to seize absolute control, only to leave behind a legacy of chaos and bloodshed. Born in the early 1920s in northwestern Uganda, Amin's early life is shrouded in mystery. He received a little formal education, but his imposing physique and natural charisma quickly caught the eye of the British colonial army. Joining the King's African Rifles in 1946, Amin's career was a paradox. He was a champion heavyweight boxer, a fearsome soldier, but also known for his extreme cruelty during interrogations. Despite these red flags, he climbed the ranks, becoming one of only 2 Ugandan officers to reach the commissioned rank of lieutenant, before Uganda gained its independence in 1962. In the newly independent nation, Amin's star continued to rise. He forged a close alliance with Prime Minister Milton Obote. Together, they were implicated in a gold and ivory smuggling scheme that rocked the young government. When the parliament demanded an investigation, Obote responded by suspending the constitution, arresting his political rivals, and promoting Amin to the head of the Army and Air Force. Obote had created a powerful ally, but he had also unleashed a monster he could no longer control. The relationship between the 2 men soured. Obote grew wary of Amin's growing influence and popularity within the military. In January 1971, while Obote was attending a Commonwealth summit in Singapore, Amin made his move. On January 25th, he led a military coup, seizing control of the capital. Initially, many Ugandans and the international community celebrated. They saw Amin as a liberator, a charismatic soldier who promised to end the corruption and ethnic favoritism of Obote's regime. He released political prisoners and promised a return to civilian rule in due course, but the honeymoon period would be tragically short. On Simpa, where Amin's true nature was revealed, he established killer squads, like the State Research Bureau and the Public Safety Unit, to hunt down and eliminate anyone perceived as a threat. His targets were initially supporters of Obote, primarily from the Akoli and Lango ethnic groups, but the paranoia soon spiraled out of control. Intellectuals, journalists, lawyers, judges, and religious leaders who dared to question his authority were abducted, tortured, and murdered. Their bodies were often dumped in the Nile River, a gruesome warning to others. It's estimated that between 100,000 and 500,000 people were killed during his 8th-year reign of terror. In 1972, Amin delivered another devastating blow to the nation. Claiming he had a dream from God, he ordered the expulsion of Uganda's entire Asian population, mostly of Indian and Pakistani descent. Agave. Timhus. 90 days to leave the country, abandoning their homes, businesses, and life's work. These were the very people who formed the backbone of Uganda's economy. Amin redistributed their businesses and properties to his cronies and soldiers, who had no experience in running them. The result was immediate and catastrophic. The economy collapsed, shops ran out of goods, infrastructure crumbled, and Uganda, once known as the Pearl of Africa, spiraled into economic ruin. Amin's behavior on the world stage was just as erratic and bizarre. He declared himself the King of Scotland, offered to be the head of the British Commonwealth, and wrote fawning letters to Queen Elizabeth II, signing them "Your loving husband." While some found his antics amusing, they masked a dangerous megalomania. He reveled in the titles he bestowed upon himself: His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal Al-Haji, Dr. Idi Amin, Dada, VC, DSO, MC, Lord of all the beasts of the earth and fishes of the seas, and conqueror of the British Empire and Africa in general and Uganda in particular. One of his most infamous international acts was his support for Palestinian hijackers. In June 1976, an Air France flight from Tel Aviv was hijacked and flown to Entebbe Airport in Uganda. Amin personally welcomed the hijackers and held over 100 Israeli and Jewish passengers hostage. The crisis ended with a daring Israeli commando raid, Operation Entebbe, which rescued the hostages and left Amin humiliated on the world stage. The raid was a stunning military success, but also exposed the weakness of Amin's regime. By the late 1970s, Amin's power base was crumbling. The economy was in shambles, and dissent was growing even within the military. Desperate to distract from his domestic failures and rally support, Amin made a fatal mistake. In October 1978, he ordered an invasion of neighboring Tanzania, annexing the Kagera salient. This was the final straw. Tanzanian President Julius Nyerere, who had long despised Amin, responded by mobilizing his army, supported by a growing force of exiled Ugandan rebels. The war was a disaster for Amin. His demoralized and poorly equipped army was no match for the combined Tanzanian and Ugandan rebel forces. As they advanced on Kampala in April 1979, Amin's regime collapsed like a house of cards. He fled the capital, reportedly escaping in a helicopter just hours before the city fell. His reign of terror was finally over. Idi Amin never faced justice for his crimes. He first fled to Libya and then found permanent asylum in Saudi Arabia, where he lived a quiet and luxurious life in exile. He died from multiple organ failure in a hospital in Jeddah in 2003 and was buried there. He showed no remorse for the atrocities committed under his rule. The story of Idi Amin is a chilling reminder of how a nation's hope can be twisted into a nightmare. It's a cautionary tale of unchecked power, the dangers of personality cults, and the devastating consequences of tyranny. For the people of Uganda, the scars of his rule run deep, a dark chapter in their history that they continue to reckon with to this day. The Pearl of Africa was tarnished, its people brutalized, and its economy shattered by one of the most infamous dictators of the 20th century. His rise and ruin serve as a powerful lesson for the entire world. Thank you for watching. If you found this documentary informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories from history. We'll see you in the next one.